due to the cost of escalation in construction. And those were the three items that we had as far as part of our budget update.
I'd like to make a point,
Okay.
sorry. I just wanna say that if we made $133,000 on interest in the last quarter, we would have been better off not putting solar in this district. Because we made half that amount in solar production for the last quarter. I just wanna point it out, and I think it needs to be said, because there were a lot of numbers we were told that just weren't true. And many people didn't believe they were true back when they were said, and they clearly weren't true. And that's, you guys didn't do that, but it was told, so.
So now again, talk about.
Would it be helpful if we actually ask SunPower to come and explain?
But not, no, I mean, it might be, but the only thing it could be is if there's a mistake in how those savings were calculated, but.
Well, we need annual savings numbers to be able to make that.
Well, maybe
Because
because
solar is so variable,
I
we need the
understand
annual
that,
numbers.
that interest was quarterly, and I was only making the point, I don't believe we're going to get $800,000 in the next, it's average, I don't believe we're gonna get $1 million a quarter.
Well, that's what I'm
Going
saying,
forward.
because I feel what you're saying, I understand what you're saying, that's what I'm saying. If they really promise $3 million per year offset of the budget, and so far for 2 quarters, we are getting only 200,000, how are you going to get in just 2 quarters from 200,000 to 3 million?
But I don't think it was SunPower who was making the promises.
But they're supposed to guarantee the production.
They
so-
guarantee production, not
But the
savings.
cost savings.
Yeah, SunPower has
That's-
nothing to do with
That's a-
the
that's a
numbers you're talking
Okay,
about.
okay.
Correct.
different concept.
All
The
right.
guy who was here earlier and left,
Mhm.
Brian Richards,
Okay.
ask him,
Why did he leave?
because he was just here for the audit
accounting.
report.
Yeah.
He's the CFO, he's the finance guy. He can give you all the numbers.
We need to see the annual numbers, because,
Yeah.
you know, your point is on the quarters, but until we see if those summer numbers are gonna be massive, I don't know how big, but they'll be big, because they won't have offset of running anything electronic, and
but-
plus you'll be
But I'm
getting
not sure,
a
I'm
bunch
not
more
sure
hours
about
of
that,
sun.
because
Sure.
this summer, or this winter, we didn't have rain, we didn't have fog.
But you had schools running, you don't have
No,
schools
I understand,
running.
but we're not talking about how much is the offset, so let's forget about the fact that the money is just an offset, we're just talking about the actual production.
No, she's talking about savings, she's not talking about production, she's talking about the fact that it was.
Well, we're saving or production
We
is the
were
same
supposed to
thing.
be saving about $3 million to the general fund
Mhm.
in electricity
Mm-hmm.
costs by putting in solar. And so we won't know that until we have a full year of savings, how much that is. The quarter shows $140,000,
2 quarters,
2 quarters, right?
yeah.
And so we'll see what the summer, we had some summer numbers
But we
last year, even
spent-
though it wasn't the full amount though.
But we spend less in the summer.
We spent a whole lot less.
But that doesn't help your case.
It does help your
you
case,
bank
because you
that
bank
money.
it, it doesn't, it banks, it goes over a year period. So you have no electricity being used, and you're generating a whole lot more solar. So you're doing both, you're saving because you're not using any, and you're generating a whole lot more. So it is a much bigger number. I have solar at home too, so I see these
Do
numbers.
you see big changes between the two?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I got
massive
I got
changes.
money back from PG&E.
Yeah, big,
on my
big
solar.
changes between summer, and we use a pool and air conditioning during the summer, yet we see big changes.
Okay,
So-
I'll wait 6 more months.
We
Yeah,
can't-
I'm just saying, you need to wait and see an annual number, because that's where the big numbers will be summer.
And for me, when I started looking at it, I think, oh my God, what are we doing? And you have to look at it at a 12-month period.
So,
And because PG&E, once a year, sends you a true-up statement. And they bank everything over that 12-month period. And you can't look at it on a daily basis or a quarterly basis or anything. It's annual period.
But we could see, Tim, we can see last summer's, even though it wasn't 100% up and running, we could get last summer's production numbers, could we not? What the savings were, even though it wasn't 100%.
I don't have any way to,
Oh,
since
because of the.
you guys
because-
have asked, I've started saying, okay, this is
Yeah.
what we had last quarter. I
Because
don't
it was
have any way to, segregated quarter of time last year because we just kept accumulating.
But you could give us a savings number for last calendar year, likely, right?
Yeah,
That we can probably find.
So like
What I
last
would like
calendar
to
year, we
see
might, yeah,
is-
it wouldn't be
is-
100%, but it would be probably pretty
I'd like to
close.
see all the sites, I don't care about dates or times or anything else, of a 12-month period. So each one of the sites on a 12-month period, whatever that 12-month total site is, because they all came online differently, put them all in a 12-month, add them all up, look at what the production, what we used when we calculated it, and what we're using now in that 12-month period. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think that we could probably, we should be able to pull PG&E bill data from fiscal also.
Yeah,
And, and that would be a
you
real
gonna-
reflection on,
That would be a
I'll
great.
call you next
That'd be
week and
good.
we'll see if I
That'd
can
be
get
good.
together and I'll try to elaborate.
we should be able to say, this is what we pay for PG&E that fiscal year, this is what we pay for PG&E this
I don't
fiscal
care
year.
about fiscal year, I care about the 12 months that we were online for that.
We
If
won't-
it came
we won't-
on in
there-
December, I want from December to December. If it came on November, from November to November. Because every site came online differently.
But I understand what you're saying, but I think Linda's point is, you know, the bond was sold to the public, that it was gonna
Correct.
save $3 million a year of general fund, you know, expenditures for electricity. So that's a fiscal year, how much money do we save in electricity bills? You know,
But
and
we
we won't have 100% of them all online all last fiscal year,
I
but we'll
see
know
what
for
you're saying.
close. I mean, if it's 2 million or
what you're saying.
2.5 million, you're gonna be close. If it's 1 million, then you're gonna start to worry. So
Right.
I don't think, and we won't have
But
perfect
I
data
don't-
last year, but at least it'll be close.
We haven't had all of them on for one fiscal year. have we?
No,
It's been very
close,
close.
but not quite.
Not for a full fiscal year, but for a calendar year, November, Meadow Homes came on. But I think we could probably say
I'll call
PG&E
you
this
and-
period.
And I kinda know what you're talking about, and I know what you're saying, because we've been talking. And see if we can come up with something that makes sense to everybody.
So Brian works in fiscal years,
Yeah,
so if we can get a stretch out to where we get a fiscal year reporting, then that makes a whole lot more sense, because now you're looking at
But we don't
real
have,
numbers.
yeah, but we can do it two different ways.
In June you'll have a full fiscal year.
Right.
Because when we
Yeah.
say they came on in November, it wasn't November this year, it was November the previous year that Meadow Homes came on.
Okay.
Yeah,
this
so-
June will be a full.
Because our
fiscal
next
year.
meeting's in June?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But they don't close the
They
books
won't-
out
the
till
books
June
Yeah,
won't
you're
be
probably
closed.
not gonna get
That doesn't
June
matter,
data.
because they can do that off of production and everything else. They have those numbers.
But remember, we're tracking cumulative, so it's hard for me to find a snapshot
I know.
going back
It's
beyond
easier if you can
that
do
last
bills.
quarter.
Okay.
We took that number last quarter and we gave that to you. Since then, I'm able to track on a quarterly basis, because I took
The base
that number.
Okay, I'll call you and we'll get together, and I'll see if make it so everybody understands it.
If we can extract the data, we're happy to do that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know,
I know the guy to hook you up with.
okay.
And we have to adjust for Clinton Valley, right, because you're not paying the bills for Clinton.
You know, I don't know that answer.
And I think we have to adjust for Glenbrook and those two also, because the bills, it'll be before that, the bills you're looking at or not? You know, the baseline bills, the bills before solar. Would we have had those two schools open?
But those have solar on them.
We have solar on all
We have
of
solar, we have,
Oh, that's
there
right.
was, you know,
Never
there
mind,
was
you
solar
moved
put
those
on
in.
them, so,
That's right.
yeah, so we,
I understand what you're saying, and I'll see if I can make sense of it. Because what I'm getting doesn't make sense to me either.
Okay, okay, and thanks, and look, I don't know what happens on a yearly basis, so I could be pleasantly surprised
Yeah,
in the next 6 months,
I think you will be.
okay.
It sounds like a huge number, right? I mean, only for 120,000 to get all the way to 3 million.
It seems,
It's daunting, it seems daunting.
yes, it seems almost impossible.
Yeah,
It's not.
that's how I feel the same way, I totally agree with